Greetings to everybody. Welcome to another program here at Shura TV. My name is Dr. Azar, Zachariah Azar, and I'd like to welcome all the viewers and wish you once again a happy new year. Here we are on January 5th, 2021. There's a lot going on in the world, and we are trying to make sure that we stay safe. And as we are in the middle of a pandemic here in Southern California, and unfortunately in Los Angeles County now, the numbers are increasing, and they have increased pretty much exponentially. And they're at a point where when they're testing for COVID, 1 out of 5 tests is positive, meaning that there's a 20% infective rate. So this is just news that I read last night and yesterday. So it is very important for us all to keep that in mind in terms of our health. Unfortunately, the healthcare system and the hospitals and the ICUs and the ERs, and talking to our colleagues who are first-line workers, they are overwhelmed and understaffed, and people waiting in parking lots to get into the ER, and even the EMS system, which is the emergency medical system, has been summoned and told that unless it's something very, very dire, do not bring people back to the ER if they think that they will not survive. So this is something that we need to keep social distancing, wearing your mask, and as well as washing your hands, and basically isolating yourself. Do not be anywhere near crowds or gatherings other than your own immediate family that you live with. If you have essentials to do, you can do, but we have to make sure that we keep ourselves and our family members and our community safe. So this is very important to have that those immediate goals in mind in terms of our short-term health, because that's important. This pandemic is here, and we're trying to get through it, and we're trying to mitigate all risks so that we don't end up in an ER for any reason unnecessarily. Looking ahead, it's the new year. A lot of people are in the habit of having resolutions, which are great things to have. It's sort of a renewal, a refocusing, a re-energizing, and it's very important to do that for ourselves in terms of our sanity and our health. And our health is not just our physical health, but it also is manifested in our mental health as well. So it's two components of health together that make a complete holistic health. So what we want to do is make sure that we cover both bases in our resolutions and our health goals moving forward and looking towards the new year. One of the most important things that usually that I focus on for myself and for others and our colleagues is that it's very important to keep in mind what our intake is in terms of our nutrition and the nutritional values of things we eat. It's very important for us to sort of take into account what types of foods we are eating regularly, whether it's for breakfast, for lunch, for snacks, or desserts. This is very important. If we make simple changes in the new year, a lot of people are, very concerned about weight loss in the new year. We have all these programs, whether it's Weight Watchers or any of these NutraSweet or any of these commercials that you see for diets. They get a lot of signups in January, and then by February, March, everybody has jumped out and they've gone back to their normal and old ways. So it's important for us to make changes and have New Year's resolutions that we can sustain through the year. I'd like to focus more on a lifestyle change rather than doing strict caloric restrictions or some of these fad diets that are good for a short term, but it's not something you can sustain. So I'm more in favor of making lifestyle changes in general that are good for you. For example, I had a friend that gave up soda and sweet drinks. They stopped drinking that, and over the span of the year, naturally, just by doing a simple step like that, he lost 15 to 20 pounds just by giving up his soda and those sugary drinks. So things like that, which you can sustain and you can look back on and really feel accomplished by. The last thing we want is to do these fad diets and things that are short term, and we feel excited and energetic in the beginning, but once our bodies plateau and stop losing the weight, then we feel down about it, and then we give up on it. So it's important to have that mindset where when you're making health conscious decisions, it's something for the long term. It's something for the long term, and you want to benefit your body, regardless of short-term gains. It should be something sustainable. So, for example, I mentioned giving up sweet, fizzy drinks. It's not good for you. Some people say the fizzy drinks expand your abdomen, as well as the sugar is not good. It's usually has 40 to 50 grams of sugar per can or per 8 ounces. So it's really detrimental to your cortisol levels and your stress hormone that is triggered by that sugar. So it's important to keep that in mind. So things like that, for example, in terms of eating, we can decide and make conscious effort to, hey, I'm going to have a certain amount of servings of vegetables, for example, per day. Maybe right now you're not getting vegetables, you're not getting fruits, and you might not like it. You might have some type of dislike towards it, and you don't think about it. But in essence, we know that fruits and vegetables provide good sources of nutrition, and we want to make sure they're pesticide free and clean them and bring them in and get them from a good source. But in general, it has many benefits for the body in terms of getting good nutrients. You get you can get your trace elements, you can get your vitamins, you can get all types of minerals, and these come from those vegetables and fruits. And if, for example, if today we're only getting fruits and vegetables maybe once or twice a day, or even less, maybe we can say, you know what, I want to at least try to get it 3 times a day, so that I see a difference in my health and well-being. So things like this, gradually and slowly, and if you can sustain it, will make a long-term impact on you. For example, a lot of people have joint pain. They have aches and pains in their knees and their hips and their and ankles, and there's weight on their body. So even if you can just lose 10 pounds over the next 2 months, like 5 pounds a month, that would increase or decrease the pressure on your joints by about each pound, 1 pound of weight on the body is about 5 pounds on the joints. So if you lose 1 pound, you decrease the pressure by 5 pounds. So imagine you lose 10 pounds, you're looking at 50 pounds of pressure off your joints. And that'll make a substantial difference in your quality of life. Another, easy thing that we can do is, add a simple a walking regimen in our daily routine, whether it's, especially now, everyone's sort of at home. Most people are at home, not working from the office. So you can find in and around your house, you can go out and go for a walk, a simple walk, 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day at a slightly fast pace will do wonders for you. Not only will it clear your mind and kind of gather your thoughts and consolidate those, but it also gives you good health benefits. You're moving your body, you're moving your joints, and there's been a lot of studies that show that a simple walk has a great influence on your cardiovascular health. It decreases a lot of episodes of potential, traumatic events like a stroke or a heart attack or things like that. And it's good for you, and you're getting fresh air. And of course, in this day and age, you have to socially distance. So if you're near people outside, definitely keep your mask on. But in general, if you have an open park or open space that you can go and walk, that's a great idea. And it's something for the new year that you can do. And you can add on to your regimen. If you're someone that exercises already, maybe you can, sustain that and keep that going and add something to it. And on top of that, you can, do something that's good for you being mindful. Mindfulness is very important nowadays. Again, your outcomes in health and well-being are not only physical, but also mental. So mindfulness is you do meditation techniques. Some people like to sit down and pray for 10 minutes, 20 minutes a day, different times of the day. It's very important that you take that into effect and into consideration, and that has very, very positive effects for your overall health over a long term. If you continuously to do these small things, if you continuously commit to do these, then you'll see a difference in your quality of life in terms of your health and well-being. Maybe you have a stressful job, maybe you have a lot of different stressors in your life, but doing these small changes will help you cope with those stresses much better. And you'll see that the stresses decrease as you do these little techniques. The other thing, of course, that everybody, our intake is, the sugar intake is very high. Yearly sugar intakes in the US are extremely high when you compare them to other countries in the world. And a couple of things we can do. As I mentioned, I had a friend that, just gave up soda pop regularly. He was drinking soda pop on a daily basis, and he gave that up. Only once in a while on the weekend or on a special occasion he would have these high sugary drinks. The other thing we can do is try to stay away from a lot of these processed foods. I know it's difficult. People have fast-paced lives, but now that a lot of people are home and working remotely, maybe you can make one proper meal that's not processed. And, someone cooks it at home, and you have your vegetables and you have your protein and you have a little bit of carbs, minimal carbs. That would be great if you can do that and make that choice and keep away from all the highly processed and fried foods and things like that. And if you can do that and have a nice wholesome meal, that too will make a long-term impact if you can do that regularly and sustain it in your health. And then these small changes, the cumulative effect will be a positive result. And of course, you should always, number one, anytime you do any type of diet or any type of regimen, consult with your personal physician whether you do a consultation through telemedicine these days, or you call in the office, let your doctor know what you're doing so that he can advise you. And then also your doctor might want to do your, just a regular complete blood count on you to just check things. And it is the beginning of the year. A lot of people go and get their regular yearly health checkups. The first 3 months of the year, they try to get that done. And now I understand it's COVID, but at least you can do a consultation and then maybe go to a lab and get your blood drawn so the doctor gets a good assessment of what's going on with your, things like cholesterol and your blood pressure and your hormones. It's important to have a gauge on that and have a baseline so that you can work off that. That's very important. These things, are important, and not only are they lifestyle changes, but they are things which, if you consciously do, and if you have children that are watching you, then they can hopefully mimic the same habits. Because it's important, because our children get marketed to a lot in terms of sweet and sugary foods and processed foods and cereals, and it's important for the children to learn good habits moving forward, and developing those basic lifestyle routines that promote a healthy living and a healthy well-being. So these are a few things that are important, and things that you're not setting yourself up for failure. You can gradually and slowly do it, and there's no impending pressure, and you have to hold yourself accountable. Maybe sit down and discuss it with your significant other, or with your children, or with your friends, and say, I'm going to try to do these things in terms of the new year. I have these goals. I want to be more healthy. I want to have a better quality of life. I want to have longer longevity, meaning you want to live longer and have higher quality of life moving through and living through these days, and promoting a active lifestyle. Some people, unfortunately, we see them, they hit the gym, or they used to hit the gym every day, 6 out of 7 days a week. They were there for at least an hour and a half. And, that also, sort of burdens your body. Your muscles and your body need to rest as well as exercise. And, there's intermittent, high intense exercises that are recommended now. And they have as much benefit for your cardiovascular system and other systems in your body than the sustained long, grueling exercise routines as well. Another thing a lot of people do is now, it's become very trendy, is intermittent fasting. And there's been a lot of research and studies published on intermittent fasting. One was from University of Southern California here locally, and that research indicated that intermittent fasting, when you fast for a good period of time, greater than 6 hours, your body's own stem cells actually get activated. So it helps with regeneration, and also with anti-aging. So that research study, which is very interesting to read, indicates that intermittent fasting, where your body takes a rest from intake of food, increases the activity of your own endogenous stem cells in your body, and they in turn stimulate all the anti-aging effects of the hormones and the mechanisms in your body. So that's very important as well. Things like that, in terms of intermittent fasting, high intensity interval exercises. These are, things that have been around or come around recently. So these things have been developed, and you should research and read about them, and then ask your doctor about it. And once you discuss it, then you can go ahead maybe partake in it and see how you do. And you don't want to overwhelm your body, but it's something that's been shown to be beneficial. And it's important because it's something that's sustainable. It's nothing that you have to do every single day. It's something you do once or twice a week or once or twice a month, and it still gets your body benefits. These things are important. And then the other factor that's very important, especially nowadays, that we have a lot of, lack of a better word, anxiety in society, right? There's a lot of anxiety. You're watching the news. There's a lot of negative news. There's a lot of concerns people have. And unfortunately, we watch the news. We don't really have a lot of solutions. The news presents a lot of problems, a lot of issues that are there, but they're out of our control. We can't really change that. I mean, the only thing we can do is, our circle of influence is ourselves and our immediate families and people that live with us that we can help and get the word out to. But in terms of what's going on around the world or even in the state or in the country, a lot of people feel helpless and they see all this negative news. And then that negatively affects their psyche, their thinking, and it increases anxiety. So in terms of that, I would limit my news intake to maybe 30 minutes a day. Get your information, and then that's it. Or sometimes you can check the news yourself. Don't get notifications on every little thing that's happening, because our phones tend to ask you, do you want to get a notification on everything? And this is really not good for your health. Every time you see something that's going on and it's wrong, and you really can't do nothing about it, but your body processes that as a negative event. And you do get stressed about it, whether you consciously realize it or not, but subconsciously, your body does have a reaction to it. And there are hormones produced and things that happen, and it actually affects your being. So I would recommend, to get your news once a day, twice a day, and the notifications from the phone on different news events that are happening. You don't need to be aware of everything every minute of every hour. It's really not conducive to good health, especially nowadays when there's a lot of negative news out there. And for us to remain happy and healthy and have an overall positive experience in terms of trying to do our best to remain healthy and positive, mind and body, having all this negative news coming in left and right is really something which is at the end of the day detrimental to our well-being. So it's better to limit it and be informed, but realize your circle of influence and what you can and cannot do. And then those of us who of course, you believe in God and you put your trust in God, of course, there's certain things that we can do, take steps. We take all the measures that are necessary. And then at the end of the day, you put your trust in God and you move forward and don't get down on yourself because of things that are happening. So that's something which is very important, to have that mindfulness and realize that, we're not in control of everything. We can't change everything in terms of our healthy well-being. We have certain decisions that we make for ourselves, for our families, for our loved ones that are near and dear to us. But outside that circle, we really don't have that influence. We can get the word out, we can advise people, but other than that, you can't. You can, support different efforts that are going on in the community. Now there's a vaccine effort that's going on here in Southern California. We can promote that through our organizations. We can encourage that. But at the end of the day, we shouldn't experience negative feelings or be down on ourselves or feel depressed because something's not happening, because it's really not in our control. As long as we do our best and we do our part, the rest we leave up to God, and we put our trust in God, and that'll happen for us. The other thing I wanted to mention was these things all relate also to our sleep. Sleep is very important. We need for our bodies to kind of reboot and really for all the systems to recharge and and have a good chance at healing, we need at least 6 to 7 hours of sleep a night, and uninterrupted. And the best way to do that is to, before you sleep, try to get off the phone 30, 40 minutes before you sleep. Have a routine. A lot of this blue light that comes from the phone is not, what do you call it? It's not conducive to sleep. It actually awakens you and produces a strong bright light that kind of stimulates your dopamine. So you really don't want that when you sleep. You want your melatonin and your hormone that's responsible for your deep sleep to be active. So when you sleep, or when you're getting ready to sleep, I would suggest getting rid of all the light pollution in your room, keeping your phone away from your bed. A lot of people are now sleeping with their phones, which is detrimental to health. Which is detrimental because you're reading, and you fall asleep, and you have that blue light in your face and in your eyes, and that has effects in your brain. So the smart thing to do would be to get your news, get your text, get all that done with, then go and prepare for sleep and keep the phone away from your bed. It's really not conducive to a healthy sleep pattern when you have the phone right next to your bed or right on your bed and you're looking at it the whole time. It's not good. And, it's not something where you should jump out and look at your phone the first thing in the morning. You should have a routine. You should get up, wash up, meditate, get everything calmly, get those things done, and then maybe check what's going on in the world. A lot of us now have the tendency to just grab our phones, and a lot of people have become dependent on their phones for everything, and it's really it's a sad commentary on our society and technology. But moving forward, I think if we are conscious of it and we keep that in mind, that human interactions, you live with people, you should, when you get up in the morning, you should talk to the people in your house. How are you? How's your sleep? Everything was okay? Did you have a good dream, a bad dream? Let's talk about it. We have all that time. So that actually adds to the quality of life and quality of health that you experience, rather than just looking on the phone and getting all this information fed to you, and there's no real outlet to reply back other than a text that you would send. It's very impersonal and unhealthy, I think. These are some things that we can slowly change for healthcare goals in terms of the new year. Just to recap, our intake of what we eat and what we put into our bodies, things that we know are detrimental, like too much sugar, too much alcohol. Some people might be too many smoking. People do all types of cigarettes, vapes, hookah. They do all types of stuff. These things need to be limited, definitely, because it's detrimental to your health. And unfortunately, nowadays, especially, there's been a lot of, in terms of the addiction and drugs and alcohol, there's been an increase over this pandemic of intake of these things. So these things you need to keep in mind, and then talk to your loved ones around you. Be mindful of what's going on. Exercise. It's very important to get some type of routine in. Simply as a walk, and adding a walk, it's great for the mind and for the body. And then, having these things in mind and keeping yourself, trying to get whole foods is in terms of intake, in terms of getting a nice meal at home, avoiding processed and fried foods, sugary drinks, avoiding these things, increasing your vegetable and fruit intake. These are things that are very obvious, but we don't do it for some reason. And we're always looking, even if you're ordering out, you can still order some, health conscious meals. It's important. And then also, in terms of, your information gathering, information data that comes into your realm, knowing your sphere of influence, knowing that, you can't change everything, but as long as you do your best, put your trust in God and then move on. And and then finally, with the sleep, it's very important to have a good sleep pattern. Get at least 6 to 7 hours of solid sleep, and try to minimize all the light pollution in your bedroom. You don't want to be looking at your phone and sleeping at the same, trying to sleep at the same time. It's not good for your mind or for your dopamine or your brain when that happens. So it's better to, 30 minutes before you sleep, get off of all your electronics and just do your routine. And then also I mentioned meditation. Some people like to pray, some people meditate. Whatever works for you, encourage yourself to do that more often, and that'll increase your positive experience with health. And I think that should sum it up for those things. And then also remember, we are in the middle of the pandemic. Stay home. It's very important. Social distancing. Wash your hands. Wear your mask if you go out. If you're indoors with anybody other than your own immediate family that you live in, mask up. Keep your mask on. Don't spend too much time with people outside your immediate family indoors. The longer you spend, the higher the chance of transmissibility if they do have the virus. So it's important to keep that in mind. If you're going outdoors, definitely keep your mask on, and don't spend too much time in the grocery stores. You can order things. There's Instacart. Every grocery store now has a delivery service. You can do Amazon Fresh, they deliver, or you can go pick up. You park, they open the back, they put it in, you leave. You don't have to go walk around in the store. So we need to take these measures for another 4 to 5 weeks so we can really get a grip on this, and then mitigate all the risks that you have in terms of doing things that, God forbid, might cause an accident or something, an injury that you might have to go to the hospital for. Right now, the capacity at the hospitals is basically at 0% here in Southern California. That means that, if you, God forbid, need to go to the ER, you're going to experience, either they're going to turn you back home, or you're going to be waiting for hours and hours because there isn't enough manpower and supplies at this point. So keep that in mind and keep yourself safe, keep positive, and we'll see you in another week. And have a great week. And again, Happy New Year. And hopefully this helps with a little bit getting through these tough times that we're living through. God bless and take care.